Hello everybody, today we are driving Baby Godzilla, a car which routinely embarrasses timid supercar owners on track days. An attainable performance car from a reliable brand that has won the hearts and desirability of those who have the means to buy a second or third Ferrari or McLaren or Lamborghini, yet they have been instead choosing to buy a Toyota GR Yaris. Fundamentally, this is a compact hatch. It's got rear seats, it's got a boot. So this is a car which you could potentially use with your family, and this being the car enthusiast channel for petrolhead parents, we're going to find out, is this a car with some creative man maths you could get approval from your other half and even your mother-in-law? There's only one way to find out. My name's Ben and welcome to Dadcars.
Welcome back to the channel.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Right, Pickle, before we take this for a drive, do you want me to tell you a little bit about it?
Yeah.
Because, spoiler alert, this is a very fast car. Daddy's car's got a V8, yeah, so 8 cylinders. I think this car feels faster than my car, so how many cylinders do you reckon this has got? Just have a guess.
9 or 10.
Yeah, well that's logical, right? You know, V10, like a C6 RS6 or something. This has only got 3 cylinders.
What?
And this mighty little free pot produces 280 horsepower, which is like 19 more than the first generation one, 380 Newton meters of torque, which is like double the torque that was in the RX-8 that I recently drove. But the reason it can produce so much power is because it's turbocharged, and also it's quite lightweight. These weigh less than 1,300 kilograms. Don't tell a lie, this one is the 8-speed torque converter automatic, which is a bit heavier. So these are just over 1,300 kilograms. But not only are they lightweight, they're also very small cars, aren't they? Less than 4 meters long and just over 1.8 meters wide. So they're basically the same size, dimensions-wise, as the Renault 5 that we recently had. And I really enjoyed the Renault 5.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone because Renault let us borrow it last week, didn't they? But do you know who's let us borrow this? Ash and Nick over Exotic and Supercar, because they're fixing the Dadcars at the moment, and they let us borrow this while they're fixing that. Do you think if anyone's watching on the telly at the moment, they should scan this QR code and follow Exotic and Supercar on their preferred socials? I think they should, shouldn't they? Because they're awesome. And if you are based in Hampshire and you've got a special sports car or supercar, honestly, it's the place to go. They're fantastic down there. Right, should we have a look at the practicality then, sweetie? So it's only a 2-door, all right? Also, just spotted there is a physical front airbag isolation switch.
What does that mean?
It means you can switch off the front passenger side airbag, and then you could put a rear-facing child seat on the front seat, although there isn't any ISOFIX. So to get into the back, we've got to move this seat forward. And this is the first little observation of sort of not the best practicality. Normally you'd have like a little lever or a button up here just to fold the seat forward.
Yeah.
The GR Yaris doesn't have that. So yeah, you pull that lever up there, the seat folds forward, but then you've got to manually slide it forward. Right, so getting in actually, once you move the seat forward, isn't that bad, is it? And headroom is slightly compromised. Look, I'm 5'11", I've got a long torso. My head does touch on the roofline in a lot of cars, but you've got plenty of space there, haven't you? Yeah, and leg room, look, this seat is set up for my driving position, and it's limited. It is limited. You've only got 2 seats in the back. This is a 4-seater. 2 sets of ISOFIX and top tether points as well in the boot. But of course, for anybody who's got 3 or even 4 children, I've measured, and you would be able to get a 3-across Multimax seat in here, or even one of their 4-across Multimax seats. So that means that if I had one of these, I could get a 4-across in here, and then our family of 6 would be able to go out in a GR Yaris. If anyone watching knows a car enthusiast with 3 or more children who is using the fact they've got loads of children as an excuse for having a boring car, having a crossover, tell them about the Multimac. What do you think about like the materials and stuff? Does it feel nice or does it feel a bit cheap?
Feels a bit cheap on here.
It does feel a little bit cheap, doesn't it? Like the carpet, guess you could say it's all lightweight materials and that sort of stuff, but this cover feels very cheap, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But even like the headliner as well. Again, I'm sure it's very lightweight, but it does all feel a bit cheap. And there's no vents in the back either, is there? But what about the boot? Now, the Yaris in general, I think it's got about 280 litres. However, the GR Yaris has got like 100 litres less. And the reason for that is, I believe, in a normal Yaris, that battery is up front underneath the bonnet because there's more space because there's not as much going on up there. Whereas in the GR, yeah, you've got the battery and you've got some other gubbins in there as well.
It's very small.
It's very small. However,
I can still fit in it. Hi, Buggy.
right, you might have to budge up. Let's see, if we can get a buggy in there and a 6-year-old, surely that is practical enough. That's not too bad, is it? Now, nobody's going to have just a GR Yaris as the one and only sole family car, are they? But anybody like me who's used to using 2-door coupes, super GTs, things like that as a dad car, this will give you all of the practicality you need. You could do a midweek shop and it'll meet your general day-to-day dad duty requirements, in my opinion. But the GR's big practicality flex is that the rear seats fold down, meaning you can put almost anything in the back of this compact hatch, including an events marquee, as you can see here. Just before we take it out for a drive, sweetie, what do you think about how this car looks?
I like the stickers.
The stickers are awesome, aren't they? This is a standard car other than the visual modifications. So obviously all the exotic and supercar stickers.
The only bit that ruins the car is how cheap the leather is.
Is how cheap the interior is. Well, we could talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I mean, look, the other thing is, right, before you overlooked all of the, you know, questionable quality materials and things like that, because the Gen 1 GR Yaris was, for argument's sake, like £32,000 back in 2020. But do you know how much these are now, sweetie?
How much?
Well, this one is basically £47,000.
Wow.
Which sounds like a hell of a lot more, doesn't it? But what we need to remember is that inflation since 2020 has gone crazy, hasn't it? So adjusting for inflation, £32,000 in 2020 is the equivalent of like £41,000 in today's diluted pound world. So really, it's only probably about £5,000 more than what these were back in 2020. And you know what? I don't think it sounds that bad when you look at it like that, because I do think Toyota deserves to get an extra few grand profit out of these cars, because I think it's awesome that they're still making them. But anyway, I said I was going to talk about the looks, didn't I? I love the Gen 1, I love the Gen 2. I don't necessarily think that one is prettier than the other. Sort of notable differences that I noticed straight away is that you lose the Toyota badge on the back light section here. I'm not too sure why, because I would have thought that Toyota would be quite proud to say and display this as a Toyota. You've got a slightly redesigned front end here. You know, in the Gen 1 cars, it was quite sort of flat fronted. It's quite blunt. I still thought it was cool, whereas this is more sort of rounded. And actually in the black, I think it works really well, because obviously this whole section here is normally black and that black light section at the back. But yeah, this car works really well because it ties it all together in black, although it does get dirty very easily, doesn't it? In actual fact, I think it kind of looks a little bit like, in sections, like the crushed carbon fibre, which is the roof, obviously. It looks like there's crushed carbon fibre like on the wing mirrors and stuff as well, doesn't it? But it's just dust and rain. Isn't it annoying, right, that tens of thousands of people watch this channel and obviously enjoy it, but only a small fraction of them actually click the subscribe button? It would make a big difference to us, wouldn't it? If people watching right now just took the 2 seconds to subscribe. Right, should we go for a drive then, sweetie? Yeah? There, in here are 2 unquestionable upgrades. Oh, hang on. No, I need to pull over because the speed alert on this car is so sensitive. Right, go to settings. Now, it's not because I'm intending on speeding, but honestly, show me somebody who never occasionally creeps up to 21 for a second when driving in a 20, and I'll show you somebody who is fibbing. So there's a couple of unquestionably better things about the second generation sat here as a driver. Number one is, if like me, you are long of torso, or you know, you have 5'11" or more, and you've driven one of the first gens, you'll know that the seating position, well, the seat was far too high. I noticed that as soon as I drove the first one. The other thing as well, the infotainment screen in the Gen 1s was really in your way. It was just right in your face there, and also the placement of the rear view mirror. It was a frustrating interior in an otherwise wonderful car, but Toyota have sorted it out. What they've gone back to is a more traditional sort of wraparound, driver-focused sort of dash, infotainment screen down here to where your gear selector is. It feels like a nod to the glory era of performance Toyota. You know, in the 90s, with, of course, the Mark IV Supra's legendary cockpit and the Celica as well. Although I would say those legendary Toyotas that were like 30 years ago, I preferred that sort of squishy, fake leather vinyl stuff that you used to get in the 90s Toyotas. Like this here, there's nothing squishy about that at all. Up here, it's just hard plastic. I would love it if they went back to that old school squishy vinyl, and it had a lovely smell about it as well. Although I must say it does all feel very sturdy. This will stand the test of time. What's it like in the back there, sweetie?
Comfortable.
It's comfortable, is it?
I've got lots of leg room.
You've got lots of leg room, and you're eating some Crispies in the back, aren't you? I have to make sure that I hoover this car out before I take it back to Exotic and Supercar, otherwise they'll never lend me another car again, will they? Right, as we are on our way to my favourite B road, seems like a good time to talk about safety. And in 2020, the Toyota Yaris achieved a very impressive 5-star NCAP safety rating. Most crucially, both adult and child occupant ratings were well into the 80s from memory. Right, sweetie, what do you think of the ride? Is it quite bumpy, look, as we go over this little bit of tarmac there? It is quite bumpy, isn't it? It's a very firm car, but I'm glad it is. Oh, Maserati. I'm very glad it is though, because honestly, what this car is capable of doing round corners, like I'm going to show you a little bit in a minute, you would not want to have excessive body roll. You want to feel connected and have communication with the road with this car. But I have to say that the damping is so high quality. It's really, really good. I've yet to hit a piece of council neglect on the road, which leaves me feeling like I need to call up a chiropractor. Right, and annoyingly, we've got a crossover in front of us. Volkswagen T-Roc. Why you wouldn't just buy a Golf, I've no idea. Right, let's slow down for a little bit. Oh, another crossover, Qashqai.
Why is there so many crossovers?
I know, it's a bit annoying, isn't it? Right, let's put it into sport and into track, shall we? Right, national speed limit. You ready, sweetie? Head back, yeah? Yeah, wow, I haven't been able to just plant my foot down yet because we're on a very twisty road. But it's very fast, isn't it? Oh, the T-Roc, we've already caught him up. Oh God, this car is so quick. I mean, on paper, apparently, it's like 5.1 seconds, 0 to 60. That's right, do you want to see us catch up with him? That's fast, isn't it? So while we're waiting to lose this T-Roc, like I mentioned earlier, we had the Renault 5 last week, didn't we, sweetie, on press loan, and it had the more powerful power plant, didn't it? And I'm genuinely impressed at just how much fun, you know, that little EV was, you know, to dart around in. But honestly, just within seconds of jumping in this, like, there is no replacement for displacement when it comes to putting a smile on your face. Like, this 3-pot engine, it's not like it makes the best sound in the world. The harder you work it, the better it sounds. Like, sometimes when you're just driving around town and things, it can sound a bit laboured. It definitely seems that this car is all set up for performance driving, not just poodling around town. But the key point is that even, you know, a little 1.6 3-pot is still just worlds away in terms of engagement, in terms of experience, than an EV. Unfortunately, it just is. Look, I'm not somebody who is anti-EV. You know, a lot of people were upset in the comments about me being so positive about that car, but yeah, there's no replacement for displacement. Goodness me, this T-Roc is really ruining this test drive, isn't it? I bet the legroom in the back of that T-Roc isn't much better than it is in this. But I'll never know, because nobody ever offers me crossovers to film, because I think they're scared of what I'm going to say. Yes, right, the T-Roc has gone. I've used this car a handful of times to go into town to drop off and pick up the kids from their gymnastics, and honestly, it's an absolute city roundabout slayer. Honestly, there's no gap too small that you'll ever get stuck at a roundabout this. Right, national speed limit sweep. But honestly, on a tight, twisty B road like this, I do not think you could go any faster than what this is capable of doing if you were in a supercar. You know, rear-wheel drive supercar, which is 2 meters wide. Honestly, I think you would be able to go faster in this. Which brings me on to the gearbox. What do I prefer? I've driven the manual first gen and driving this, the auto. I would go for the manual, honestly, because this car just feels so quick that using the paddles, you're up to 60 before you know it. Just having that extra little bit of engagement, even if it is at the sacrifice of your overall lap time. Like for me, with the rev matching as well, honestly, I'd go for the manual. Unless you are buying your GR Yaris because you are going to be using it often on track and you're going to be timing your laps, then it's sensational. This gearbox is brilliant. Driving around town, it's smooth enough. And then when you're on a blast, when you're really going for it, when you've got it in all the right settings, honestly, it's super quick considering it's a torque converter. It's not double clutch or anything like that. It is mega, but I have to admit that for me, the manual is still more of an attractive proposition, a package as a whole for the GR Yaris. Watch this, you ready? 3, 2, 1. What do you think? Is that quick? It felt faster because we were on a tight B road, whereas when we're on this nice big wide open one and the bushes aren't right next to you, it doesn't feel quite as fast, does it? And I don't know if there's any trickery going on with sounds being pumped through or not. Let me know in the comments below if you know if it is or not, but it sounds great when you're really going for it. It sounds fantastic. So all that's left to talk about really before I give you my final word on the GR Yaris is the running costs. And we talked about earlier on how these aren't quite as cheap on paper as what they used to be, but servicing costs of these are quite reasonable. I think it's about 350 quid for a minor service, about 550 for a major. And if you do it with Toyota every year, they will give you an extra 12 months warranty after that, up to 100,000 miles or 10 years, whichever comes first. Check out the terms and conditions on that though, because I think there are a few sort of exceptions here and there. Road tax for these, I believe, is just £195, but because these are now over £40,000 in the UK, it does mean that there's an additional VED payment for the first 6 years, which I think is about 400 quid. So actually you're going to be paying £600 to tax one of these. Insurance costs, if there are any owners that are watching, you've got one of these, you've got a first gen one, please let us know in the comments below what you pay annually for insurance. And the final thing to talk about is miles per gallon. And if I try to buy one of these in the future, sweetie, and mummy asks what miles per gallon it gets, can you tell her Toyota's official claimed figure for it, which is 32 miles per gallon? Because that's not what I've been seeing. Every single time I've been driving this car, and it's not always been on a blast, by the way, I always look at the trip summary, and I've been seeing 18 miles per gallon every single time I drive this car. Personally, I blame the car. The car is constantly telling me to drive it faster. It wants to be driven faster. Obviously within the speed limit, but you know what I mean, go round roundabouts a bit quicker. Sort of floor it when you're at a slip road, that sort of thing. And so in summary for the GR Yaris, I think its biggest compliment is the types of people that are buying these cars. Like Exotic and Supercar. Ash and Nick went to go and test drive one of these. They're like, oh look, I want to go and see all the fuss is about. It can't be as good as what everyone's going on about. And they were blown away. And they're guys who, day in, day out, they are driving supercars. You know, Nick has got an incredible collection, which will be coming to the channel very soon. I'm doing a full video tour of his incredible fleet. But you know, those guys are driving Lamborghinis, Ferraris, you know, McLarens every single day. And they were so impressed with this that they bought it to be a promotional vehicle for their business. And they recently did a road trip with loads of supercar owners. And Ash was saying that he was, you know, pushing up behind people in crazy supercars in this. Honestly, the first time I drove this car, the confidence that I had in it, the grip that you could get in this thing going around corners, it's insane. But more importantly, for the purposes of this channel, I hope I've demonstrated in this video that those rear seats are usable. Don't listen to people that say, oh yeah, you know, the sleek roof line means that you can't fit anyone in the back because there's no headroom. Like, honestly, it's not that bad. There's more headroom in the back of these than you get in like a Mustang. It offers more real-world practicality than a 2+2. Plus its dimensions, although it's not really a car that you'd think to use for city use, if you do need to go into the city with your family for various reasons, being such a small compact hatch makes it really practical. And when you consider as well that the Gen 1 cars have barely depreciated. You know, the average price of a Gen 1 is still around £30,000, just a couple of grand less than what they were new. So should you buy a brand new one? Are they worth like the £47,000? I think absolutely yes. I'm so impressed with what Toyota is doing. We're very fortunate to have a brand new internal combustion engine car like this that people can buy today. And to anybody who does buy one of these, thank you, because you are casting a vote. Each time you buy a new car, you're casting a vote for what we're going to get going forward. So, you know, I hope that these sell like hotcakes. I hope that the demand continues to outstrip the supply so that manufacturers still keep making incredible driver-focused cars like this. A huge thank you to Exotic and Supercar once again. Honestly, if you are based in or around Hampshire, you've got a special sports car, you've got a supercar, and you're looking for an independent with common sense that can look after it, I cannot recommend them enough. I absolutely love the guys down there. And check out this video here where you can actually see Exotic and Supercar working on my Dadcars. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.